Hello students, in the last class I have discussed with you the objectives of financial management. There are 6 objectives of financial management. Under that, first point was profit maximization, wherein I have discussed with you the what is profit maximization, what are the drawbacks of profit maximization, what are the points favoring profit maximization. So, profit was a main objective of every organization, that is to increase the rupee value of money. Then later on, the objectives of the organization changed. Now we have different objectives of financial management. So first one was profit maximization, wherein I have discussed with you all those points, where what is favoring and what is drawbacks of profit maximization. The second one is wealth maximization. Wealth maximization objective is also known as value maximization or net present worth maximization. This objective is considered appropriate for decision making. Wealth means wealth of shareholders. Wealth of shareholders is determined by the market value of the shares. So what is the meaning of wealth is wealth means wealth of shareholders. Now, every organization strive its best to give a maximum or to earn a maximum profit. But along with the profit, they also should try to increase the wealth of the shareholders. Now, how the wealth can be increased is to by increasing the market value of the shares. How these market value of the shares can be increased? It can be increased by creating a good name, fame of the organization. There are several other factors also which creates a goodwill of the concern, wherein the value of the share increases. So just earning the profit is should not be the main objectives. After earning the profit, how do they invest those money in the different sources so that a good name is created? Automatically the wealth will increase, that is by increasing the market value of the share. So wealth maximization concept says to increase the wealth of the shareholders. How the wealth can be increased? It is through market value of the shares. Okay. Wealth also signifies net present value. Net present value is nothing but which is a difference between the present value of cash inflow and the present value of cash outflows. The difference between the cash inflow and the cash outflow is called as a net present value. For example, if you invest in one of the technology or a machinery which you are going to install in a company, okay, so cash outflow, that is how much you are investing. Suppose the cost of the technology is rupees 10 lakh, okay, so once you invest 10 lakh rupees, you start producing the goods with the help of that technology or machinery, and you are able to earn the profit of rupees of with the machinery cost maybe 12 lakh rupees. 12 means they have invested 10 and they have received from that machinery the worth of rupees 12 lakh through production, sale, etc. So the difference between these two is called as a wealth. So when your inflow is more than the outflow, then the wealth can be created to the shareholders. So that is called as net present value. When there is a NPV, net present value, then it signifies a wealth for the shareholder. In this way, the wealth maximization objective considers the time value of money and assigns different values to cash inflow occurring at different point of time. One of the drawbacks of the previous objective was it does not considers the time value of money, but here it considers the time value of money. It calculates what would be the price at a different outflow. Suppose if you have planned today to invest 1 lakh rupees to one of the machinery, okay, after 1 year you are expecting income of rupees 20,000. After second year you are expecting 30,000. After third year you are expecting 40,000. So Every year you're calculating today, taking into account after 2 years, after 3 years. But whether the value of the rupee will be same after the 3 years, what you have valued today, suppose if you value today as 30,000 after 2 years, whether the value of 30,000 today and after 2 years will be same? No, actually the value of the rupee depreciate every year. So in case of profit maximization, they don't consider the time value. In wealth maximization, if they value today the worth as 30,000, after 2 years the value of that 30,000 may be 24,000. Okay, so they consider 24,000 today itself to calculate the value of the inflow of that machinery. So time value is considered, and then the cash inflow is calculated in case of wealth maximization objective. Thus, according to wealth maximization objective, investment should be made in such a way that it maximizes the net present value. So investment should be made in such a way that it increases or maximizes the net present value. Net present value is the difference between the present value of cash inflow and the present value of cash outflow. Let us see what are the arguments favoring wealth maximization. First point is it is superior. Of course, it is superior from the other concepts, profit maximization, because it takes into account the shareholders' wealth as well as the time value of the money. So it is considered as a superior. It is precise and unambiguous. It is clear, very clear. What is wealth? Wealth is nothing but the wealth of shareholders. How it is to be done? It is created by the market value of the share. So it's very clear and unambiguous. There is no way for unadjectives things or unambiguous. Ambiguous means it's not very clear, very complicated, can't understandable, etc. But in case of wealth maximum, is unambiguous. You are very clear with the concept, understand, it is very precise. Then of course considers the time value of money. So it considers the value of the money. What is the value of the money after 1 year, after 2 years, after 3 years? If you expect so much, what will be the value today? So it is calculated on that basis. The value of the wealth or the wealth of the shareholders is determined. Next one is considers risk. It takes into account the risk factor. What is a risk? What kind of risk? If they are investing today 1 lakh rupees, after 1 year they are expecting 20, after 2 years they are expecting 40, after 3 years they are expecting 50. So what is the risk associated with whether they will be able to get it? If they are not, how much there will be in the risk? So it should be calculated. So it is taken in time value of the money itself, that is the discounting rate. Higher the discounting rate, higher the risk. So discounting rate increases means at what price you are at what rate you are discounting the money. Okay, 30,000 today, after 2 years, if, you consider that after 2 years you will be getting 30,000. Okay, you value today. So what would be the value of that 30,000 after 2 years? It will be around 24,000. So how they have considered it? They have considered it taking into account the discount rate. So the risk is considered here. Ensure efficient allocation of resources. Resources are to be efficiently allocated to the shareholders. Okay, so here shareholders wealth is important. Shareholders likelihood or shareholders interest is taken into account. So how the shareholders wealth can be created, how the shareholders market price can be increased, that is taken into account. Ensures economic interest of the society. It creates that the society interest should be protected, should be taken into account. Society is nothing but the wealth of the shareholders. it ultimately uphold the economic interest of the society. So it takes into account the interest of the society. Next is unfavorable argument for wealth maximization objective. What are the unfavorable argument? What can be done? What are the arguments which are unfavorable? First one is creates owner management problem. It creates a problem between the management and the owner, because owners are nothing but the shareholders, management is nothing but who carries on the business. Now always the owners want to control over the management, and their main interest is to get a maximum profit. Okay, the concept of wealth maximization create owner management problem, as owner wants to maximize their profit and management wants to maximize shareholders profit. So what the management wants to do, owner wants to maximize their profit, they want to, however they want to increase their profit, but management wants to increase the shareholders profit. So there is a clash or difference of opinion between the owner and the management, so that creates a unfavorable point for wealth maximization. Ignores other stakeholders, it ignores other stakeholders, like there are other stakeholders in the organizations like suppliers, creditors, government, then employees, customers. These are the stakeholders. So in the wealth maximization concepts, they have taken into account only the wealth of the shareholders, not the wealth of the other stakeholders. Criteria of market value is not fair. See, the criteria for wealth maximization is based on the market value of the shares, which is not correct measure. Actually, here the wealth of the shareholders is considered through market value, but here the market value of the share is not favorable. It should not be, is not fair. It is not a way of calculating the wealth of the shareholders, because the value of the share could increase or decrease due to other economic factor which are beyond the control of the firm. As I've told you, see, market value, that is the share value in the stock market, is not determined only by the profits or by the projects they are in. There are other factors also, like the economic conditions. Now we have the situation, pandemic situation, now it is corona, people don't have the money to invest, so that is not because of the company problem, it affects whole world, and then the market price declines. It is not because of the performance of the company. So these are the factors which are beyond control, which cannot be controlled by us. If there is a war, attack, etc., the market price declines. So it is not because of the performance, it is some other factors which are not under control. But wealth maximization considers only the market value of the shares to be increased by creating a wealth, or to increase the profit, invest and increase the NPV. But here, when some things are not under control, where the wealth maximization concept becomes unfavorable. It is just another form of profit maximization. So some say that it is just another form of profit maximization. It is not just a separate concept. It is just some additional things are added to the wealth maximization. Otherwise, the profit maximization and wealth maximization are same. Management alone enjoys certain benefits. Certain benefits are those which are enjoyed only by the certain management alone enjoy. They only enjoy those benefits. Others don't enjoy it. That is one of the point. But actually, the others also management. There are other factors also associated with the risk or the wealth maximization. It is not suitable for present day business. Present day everything is uncertain. We don't know what happened next. So wealth, only creating wealth and increasing the objectives, or favoring the shareholders, not taking into account the stakeholders. So these concept is not suitable. We can't say that it is not at all suitable. May not be suitable for the present situation. So these are the points which are unfavorable to the wealth maximization concepts. So till now we have in the last video I have shared with you the profit maximization objective. Now I have discussed with you the wealth maximization objective. Let us see the next objective of financial management. Third one is to ensure availability of funds. The funds should be available. Every organization's objective of a business is that the funds are whatever the funds needed to carry on the business, to pay to the stakeholders like creditors, suppliers, government tax on time. So for that they need a fund. Okay, so these funds should make it available very easily so that the functions of the organizations are not affected. The sound financial condition of the business is must for any business to survive. The availability of the funds at the proper time of need is an important objective of the business. The organization will not be able to function without funds, and activities will come to an halt. See, every organization need fund. Every day they need fund as a working capital, as to purchase, as to make a payment. So they should ensure that they should have a sufficient funds. Next is attain optimum capital structure. The capital structure of the consider should be optimum. Capital structure, it is a combination of various stocks, like it is a combination of equity, preference, debentures, bonds, etc. So the total together we call it as a capital structure. They should have a optimum. They should have a proper capital structure. How much equity, how much debt, how much funds, how much bonds. They should have a proper balance between all the stocks in their capital structure. If debenture is more, then there is a problem. If their equity is more, then there is a problem. So there is a proper mixture of capital structures. Next is effective utilization of funds. The funds of the organization should be properly utilized, because it is a large funds to be undertaken. It is a business, so they collect the funds from the different sources, from the different avenues. So it is a responsibility of the organization to make an effective utilization of the funds. Business not only needs a large number of funds but also skills to handle such funds. They need a skills to handle all those funds which are needed. To cut down unnecessary cost and save funds from wasting in useless assets are crucial for a business. So they should see that anything should not be wasted. It should be used effectively. Whatever they investing in machinery, furniture, or any areas they are investing, it is used effectively. Ensuring the safety of funds. The funds they are using it should be safe. They are ensuring that it should be safe. It should be in a proper position. So that the vital objective of financial management is to ensure that the security of its funds. The funds are properly secured and it is properly done. Though the creation of reserves through the reserves and etc. they have to maintain, and they have to see that they have proper funds when there is a difficulties, when there is a challenges, when there is a contingencies. They can use those funds for the safety of the organization. So you might have seen in the various these things in the balance sheet, you might have seen that they have various funds, that is sinking fund, general reserve fund, and other development for employee compensation fund. These funds are created just because when they is for the safety purpose, when they need the organization, or when they need the funds during the contingencies, they can use those funds. So today I have discussed with you all the objectives of financial management, that is profit maximization in the previous slide, then wealth maximization, then ensuring availability of funds, attain optimum capital structure, effective utilization of funds, ensuring the safety of funds. So these are the 6 objectives of financial management.